I think we'll maybe all crowd around the podium here. 3 of us make the drive, so. City Council of our RFP that I thought would be helpful in this discussion. The first being just some of the ways in which we have helped some of our public sector clients. And in those representations, we have helped with day-to-day issues relating to public records, public ethics, public meetings, ordinance review, human resource issues, acquisition of property, public contracting, revenue review, regulations of relationships within those departments, and special issues that typically public bodies often find themselves in that they didn't expect to be. Some of our clients with which we have helped on those issues over our law firm's history are the City of Springfield, the Springfield Utility Board, who our law firm has been on retainer basis with for 40 years. In addition, the firm currently provides municipal prosecution for the cities of Springfield, Junction City, Oakridge, and we've had a great relationship with Oakridge in that contract, and Eugene. The firm also served at various times as special counsel to Lane County, City of Roseburg Rural Fire District, the Fern Ridge Library District, Willamette Lane Park District up in Springfield and Eugene area, Charleston Rural Fire District, Eugene Fire Protection, many other different city and municipal entities that have had great relationships with the firm over many years. So as I mentioned, myself and Matt Cox and Joe Leahy would be the other primary contacts. I can speak to my experience doing municipal law. I too was a judicial clerk in Lane County for the Honorable Curtis Conover. I do general counsel work for the Springfield Utility Board, and that varies in all sorts of shapes and manners. Over the past couple weeks, we've been dealing with complicated condemnation litigation, but it's not always as exciting as that. You know, there's day-to-day issues about helping individual clients of that utility that have a small billing issue, and that our firm jumps right in and tries to help the utility work those issues out with their customers. Our law firm also does additional work outside of some of the municipal work, and I think that's an important thing to point out as we have other attorneys, because some of that private work helps provide context to practical solutions and monetarily responsible solutions in the public sector. And that wide basis of knowledge helps with sometimes seeing things outside the box and providing solutions in different lights. I will also just briefly outline some of the experience of Matt Cox and Joe Leahy, as they aren't here, and the 3 of us would be the primary points of contact. Joe's represented the Springfield Utility Board for nearly 40 years. He worked as the city attorney for Springfield for about that long as well. And he's seen it all, he's done it all within the municipal and local government law context. Matt Cox has also worked with the Springfield Utility Board for many, many years, and worked doing some in-house counsel work, as our firm previously were the city attorneys for the city of Springfield. We're happy to answer any questions that the council might have, and we're excited, and I appreciate the council's time, and I truly respect the civic role that you guys have taken on, so thank you for that.
Council, do you have any questions? Bobby?
You said you provided outside, some of your attorneys have provided outside private work. What kind of work is that you're talking about?
Well, we have 2.
And I think what Mr. Dahlstrom was indicating was that we have a pretty good mix in our firm. So a couple of the attorneys, myself and Ms. Patton included, do private domestic relations litigation in other areas, also estate planning. So of the 6 attorneys that we do have a mix of some. For myself, I do private litigation, and then I also do some of the public prosecution, things like that. So we do have a good mix. Kay also does the state administration. So.
Anyone else have any questions? I have a couple. So how do you base your hourly fee schedule when it comes time to reassess the charges? How frequent you're getting?
Typically, we do it on a yearly basis with the other municipal clients I've been involved in, and try to do it at the, talk to the entity about when works best for them for billing cycles, if we are going to be looking at any sort of increase, and we typically do that yearly.
Unless, of course, the contract is for a long
Right.
period of time. Some of ours are, I think, for 2 to 3 years.
And so I'm assuming as with others, your availability would be,
Absolutely. As I tell many of my clients, I go to the office during the week, but I always have my phone on me, and emails always go to my phone, and I'm very responsive. I think we're all really responsive. That's one of the benefits of maybe the upsides and downsides of technology. We're always working to a certain extent. So
you feel like you have a broad spectrum of understanding of municipal law, land use laws, election laws, we
Yep,
have small
public
town
meeting laws,
charters,
yes.
all that.
Yes, writing municipal code, reviewing code in relation to, new changes in the law.
And if you had any concerns about that, you could contact our clients and talk to them, check with them. Even Gina Grimaldi, the city manager that
Okay.
has gone in-house, said he would be willing to talk to you about that.
Okay,
yeah.
thank you very much. Any other questions, Bobby?
So your previous job was a city of Springfield?
Yes.
How come you're no longer with
Two of our attorneys who previously mostly facilitated that contract went in-house with the city of Springfield, and there's something that the firm is really happy about and welcomed them through that transition, but the city of Springfield made that change with 2 attorneys.
Thank you very much for driving up and
for
for the
having us.
presentation.
Good evening. My name is Casey Huffman, and this is Brian Millington. Happy to be here tonight. I'm impressed actually by the turnout. I think that's great. I grew up in a small town in Reedsport as well, and it was an active community. I think that's a good thing for you guys, to have people here who care and who are interested. Fort Purdy's been around since 1946. We do have, similar to some of the other firms, we have a municipality practice, and we also have a other practice where we do pretty much everything. I work with 4 to 5 different municipalities or special districts. Brian has as well. Pardon me. We currently handle every aspect of municipal law that you can need, much like the other firms here. One of the things I will say, going last, you really can't go wrong with the firm you pick. I think everybody that's been here is definitely going to be qualified. For you, it's finding out the fit. Who's going to work well with you? Who do you feel comfortable with? And that's, I think, where it comes down to. So, you'd asked some specific questions earlier. I'm going to try to address some of those as well. We have 4 folks in our office who have been law clerks for judges. I was one of them. Great experience. In terms of what does that bring, I think it is the experience that it brings. You're working with the public, you're working with the judges, you get to see things, you get to learn a lot. So that was a great experience for me. Some of the other questions you'd asked were tracking questions, so no duplication, right? There are about 4 lawyers in our firm. Well, there's 10 total lawyers. 4 of us do some municipal work. And we sometimes have clients that are like mainly ours. But there are some times where we'll have overlap. And we think that's a beneficial thing because we know if client A calls, it's probably going to be work that I'm going to do because I have the familiarity with them. But if I'm not available for whatever reason, Brian steps in, or Kristen, or Sean. We have that ability to do that. It's definitely a team collaborative approach. We have found that that's worked well. Email is an easy way. Sometimes if a client sends it in to 3 people, one of them will send an email out, I got this one, or hey, I'm tied up on another project, can you take that one on? So I think that's how we manage that issue, because it can be complex. You don't want to overwork things. In terms of who does the city attorney represent, I agree with everything that's been said so far. It's the council represents the entity, and our duty is to the municipality. So that's a clarification that we need to make. Anytime that individual folks may have questions as an individual counselor, happy to talk to you about that to the extent we can. But once we cross over into the I'm giving you individual legal advice, then we have to pump the brakes on that a little bit. I love the question, if you've ever been wrong and what do you do about it? That's a great question. And because we all are, we're wrong sometimes. And I agree with your response. You apologize and you fix the problem as quickly as you can. That's just the way it is. Typically, we try not to be wrong. We try to do the research and not give you an answer until we're confident in it. So that's, I think, how we would address that issue. The fee schedule, I think is another question that's been asked a few times. We are similar to that. We do a yearly review. We actually take a look at the Oregon State Bar does an economic survey of all the areas in the state. So fortunately, they don't say, well, Oakridge and Portland are the same, right? That isn't how it works. They have it kind of divided. So we look at the area that's applicable to the area that we're doing the work in, and the rates are compared across the board, and we try to stay in that to the middle, lower end of those rates as well is our firm's policy. As a firm, community service is a big part of what we do as well. We actually have a 300-hour requirement for the lawyers to spend time, whether that's coaching or being on the board of directors, serving on councils of some other city if they happen to live in. So that's a big part of our experience as well. Brian, do you have anything you'd like to add on you or the firm?
Sure. My name is Brian Millington, and I provide legal advice to municipal clients, primarily dealing with compliance with state regulations and working with state agencies to ensure that there's compliance there. For me, I would be personally proud to be able to have the opportunity to represent the city, and our firm would be proud. On a personal note, my wife and I are actually building a home here, so I care a lot about this city. And for some of that community involvement, one of the things I do is volunteer with the oil and gas ski patrol on weekends in the wintertime. And for fun, I like to fish in the rivers around here. And so I just care a lot about this area, and it matters to me. It would be a real honor to be able to represent the community and participate in its success.
Councilors, any questions? You did a good job covering all of that.
That's the advantage of going last, right?
The advantage of going last. Absolutely.
You cheated.
We efficiently used our time, right?
Yes.
You lived through it. We did.
Yes, you did.
That's important.
So if there are no questions, okay, then I thank you for coming up very much.
Thank you all
Thank
for
you.
having us.
And I hope you do well in your career.
I will leave this. Ethan,
Yes, ma'am.
you have been so patient, and I have to apologize to you. You're not,
I have no problem. I just wanted to get my chance to talk now that they're all done.
okay, that's great, go for it. Oh, you want this?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Stephen Ball, 76482 Cedar Street. Representative Hayden and ladies and gentlemen, council, Ms. Mayor. I wanted to say that I know Matt Cox of Ray & Cox personally. I worked with him for 4 years as a retired police officer. Matt Cox is an impeccable character. He's an outstanding individual. And then I like the last RFP that was conducted here today, and I want to encourage the council to pick one of those two. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Yeah. We don't want people yelling. Oh, okay, let me get back on here. Thank you very much. So now we're gonna get, are you hearing me back there? Oh, that's better. Okay. So let's get back on to our agenda. Let's do the consent agenda. And, are there any corrections to the agenda? I believe, are you okay? You wanna do that? Okay. Organize?
Remove stuff.
What? Did we give you too much paper?
Somebody did. Yes.
Yeah, Paul? Oh, too much paper.
But we all, I can't answer all of them,
I believe,
but okay, we're Chrissy Hollett, we're the,
what page are you on?
let's see what it is. This was for when we, after we made the amendments. Yeah, what page?
Don, I'm gonna
We
have
got-
you use this. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I can do that.
Okay.
Page 9 of 14.
Page 9.
Okay.
Thank you.
RFP was approved. Right, when the vote was made, it wasn't put in.
So
6-0.
6-0 was.
Can't hear you back here.
The 6-0 on the vote, for when we vote, the list. There you go.
Gonna have to yell.
Is it on page 9, right above 10.5?
Yeah, so he's talking about the 6-0, so when we vote, at the end of where it lists who voted what, they'll put how many voted for and how many against, so that's what he's referencing.
Is that the only change?
Is that the only
No,
change?
I have changes.
Okay, Chrissy.
Under mayor comments.
Use your microphone, Chrissy. Please.
Under mayor comments. My spot.
What page?
On page 2, where it says Mayor Holston said we have some changes. At the end of that, it should be added that Mayor Holston stated that after planning and library, that we would extend the application period for the remaining committees, and we would take care of that in the meeting in February. Do you remember that?
I don't even know where you are. I'm sorry, I
Page
gotta be really
2.
honest here.
2 of 14.
Towards the top. You
Page 3?
said-
Page 2. Page 2.
sorry, minutes.
At the top?
Towards the top, it says Mayor Holston said we would have some changes to the agenda. And in there, you stated that we would take care of the library board and the planning commission. And then also at the end of that, you said that we would extend the application period for the remaining committees, and that's not on there.
Okay, so I think that you are right, but I think that Jackie will need to check that. Because frankly, my memory isn't excellent.
I verified by listening. The next one is under public comment, under Don Reisman. That statement that is written there under Don Reisman is not actually what Don said. So I would like that corrected to what he actually said, when he brought that paperwork. He didn't address any people in particular. That is
Okay.
on page 2.
That's the same, under public comment, so just take a look at that and see. I don't think that it's inaccurate, but I agree if that's not what was said.
No, that is not what was said.
Thank you.
And then the last one I have is on page 13.
Where about?
At the top, it says Counselor Pollitt asked if she could nominate herself. That is incorrect. I did not say that.
I wondered if you said that.
No, I did not. I said, what if we have an interest in the seat?
Correct.
I listened to the recording.
Okay. Okay, so just as instructional for council, as you go through and you find mistakes or you think that need correction, it is absolutely appropriate to just email the city administrator so that some of those, if they can be easily corrected before we come here. It's certainly absolutely okay at any time for you to bring it up here, but as a courtesy, if we know it ahead of time, that just makes life easier for everyone. So, but thank you. So with that, can we have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
I make a motion to consent, to make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Bobby seconded. Call for the vote.
Counselor Mullet,
I,
Counselor Hadley,
Aye.
Counselor Whitney. Aye. Counselor Barrett.
Aye.
Counselor Holcomb,
Aye.
Mayor Holston.
Aye. Thank you. So now we're gonna move on to the sale of the OIP property. That is an additional piece of paper that you were given today at your desk, correct? Okay, so let's get to that point. And, city administrator, Mr. Messina, will you proceed from there?
Mayor and Council, I know that at our work session, we talked about the agenda and we talked about how we really urge everyone not to bring items at the last minute to the council meeting. However, since this is an important property sale and it's often difficult to get the buyer and the city and the title company all together at the same time, and actually it's been being worked on since probably August. The original sale agreement was initialed by Mayor Rowland. It's been discussed in ODAC, and now I'll read my background. The realtor of record has negotiated a sale of 2 lots in the Oakridge Industrial Park to Jim Bray of Texas Pride Trailers. Mr. Bray is purchasing the property to construct a retail sales, and I'm sorry, it should say retail sales and wholesale sales facility for his expanding business. Texas Pride currently manufactures